Welcome to New York 4 to 7, presented by Verizon. I'm your host, Chelsea Sherrod, and today I'm so happy to be joined by WFAN's Emmanuel Berbari. Let's see how many topics we'll be discussing today. 5 topics for the 5 train. Today, we're going to focus on this World Series rematch between the Yankees and the Dodgers this weekend in Los Angeles. So, Emmanuel, our first topic is the big bats. Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani. Judge ranks 3rd in homers, 4th in RBI. Ohtani ranks 1st in homers with 20, 19th in RBI. What can we expect from the Stars in this series?
I think you could expect a lot. Expect them to show out a lot different than the World Series, actually, where it was different heroes outside of Judge and Ohtani. Not that they didn't have any role in that World Series last year, but you look at Judge struggling for most of the postseason. Ohtani, I sort of put an asterisk on the World Series considering he hurt himself sliding into second base early on in the Fall Classic. So now you have both of them coming into the series hot. Ohtani just grabbed the major league lead in home runs from Aaron Judge. And of course, Judge is having one of the best seasons of all time, but certainly the best season in baseball this year from an offensive and defensive standpoint. So I expect big weekends from both of them. And especially considering this is the only matchup we'll see in the regular season between these two, I just expect a lot of theater, a lot of thunder from the Stars that are expected to show out this weekend.
Yeah, a clash of the Titans for sure. Really looking forward to this one. Our second topic is the Yankees starters. So Max Fried, Will Warren, potentially Carlos Rodon or Ryan Yarbrough. Fried this season, 7-0, a 1.29 ERA. How do you think Fried will handle this powerful Dodgers lineup?
He's going to throw the kitchen sink at them, which he does with everybody. One of the things you love about Max Fried, he has so many different ways to get you out, like 11 different variations on his pitches, and it's like casual now. We talk about it, 5-0, 6-0, 7-0, an ERA in the low ones. He's just been a video game so far this year. And one of the things, spending time around Fried, and when you get to see him up close and personal with the Yankees, he loves all of this. He loves every aspect of being a Yankee. He loves every aspect of the big stage and the bright lights. I think we got a foray into that in the Subway Series when he pitched on Sunday night. Pitched really well. It's actually one of those starts where you listen to him post game and he's acting like he allowed 5 or 6 runs. You listen to him and you think he might have had an awful start and he allowed 3 hits and 2 runs across 6 innings. That would be amazing for most pitchers. So you expect him to go into this weekend, embrace the bright lights, and really put up a good performance against the Dodgers lineup because this is why he wanted to be here for moments like these.
Yeah, we talk about Judge and Ohtani. I mean, Fried's got to be one of the top guys, if not the top guy that you want to see in this series based on the way that he's been playing. All right, to our third topic now, facing the Dodgers starters. They've had lots of injuries to their pitching staff, but they'll have Gonsolin, Knack, and Yamamoto. Emmanuel, how will the Yankees lineup handle facing Yamamoto especially?
You're thinking about this from a perspective of what this Yankee lineup is this year because, losing Juan Soto in the offseason, I think the big question was how the Yankees would score runs and especially go up against the best pitchers in baseball. And so far, they're leading in basically every single category. So I'm really curious. It's sort of a blank slate going into this weekend. I'm not sure how they're going to handle Yamamoto. Last year, when we saw him the first time, it was in June, and he sort of emptied the tank at Yankee Stadium, put on a clinic of a performance. It was that extra inning game. And then he went on the IL for a while. And I think the thought was that he was jacked up for that moment, and he was throwing 97, 98 miles an hour, dominated the Yankee lineup, a much different Yankee lineup at that point, and then went down for a while. We saw him again in the World Series, pitch really well in that game too. So the Yankees have had their problems with Yamamoto, but there's a much different Yankee team. They're scoring in a variety of different ways. They're beating you with the long ball. They're taking the extra base. They're hitting a lot of sac flies. They lead the league in sac flies this year. So they have different ways to beat you. I'm just really curious how it stacks up against Yamamoto, especially seeing how he sort of had their number last year and how different this Yankee team is this year.
Yeah, you can only imagine that he's going to come with his best stuff. So a big test for the Yankees facing him. To our fourth topic now. Emmanuel, outside of what we talked about, what's a storyline that you'll be following closely this weekend?
I'm looking at Cody Bellinger. I think this sort of flying under the radar, his return to Dodger Stadium. And yeah, I don't think there's a lot of ill will between him and the Dodger faithful. Yeah, maybe there are some Dodger fans in the minority who believe that, Cody Bellinger didn't live up to the hype or something. But it's pretty far removed at this stage. But Bellinger has made a stop in between being a Dodger and being a Yankee. And now he's a Yankee going back into Dodger Stadium. We know there's some ill will between these two franchises that met in the World Series last year. So even if Dodger fans love Cody Bellinger, let's say 75% of them do, I think there are going to be a lot of boos thrown towards Cody Bellinger. And I think it's going to be an interesting return to Dodger Stadium in a Yankee uniform. And given the way Bellinger's been playing so well after a slow start and how good he's been for the Yankees this year, expect him to relish in the opportunity to maybe stick it to his former team. And that's a storyline. I'm trying. There are a lot of cool storylines, a lot of star power, but sort of under the radar is Bellinger in a Yankee uniform this time going into Dodger Stadium.
Yeah, talk about cinema. You add in the Bellinger storyline. It's definitely box office. To our final and fifth topic, Emmanuel, the Yankees and Dodgers have two of the best records in baseball right now. Do you think we'll see them both in the World Series again this year?
I think it's very possible now. We know with baseball it's really hard to predict. Normally the two best teams don't wind up facing each other in the World Series. The team that gets hot, and there's unpredictability. Teams that are great get bounced in the first round. So just because they played last year and just because they're two of the best this year, I don't think it's a slam dunk. Is it probable? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, these are two really great baseball teams who are clicking on all cylinders, but I would I would steer clear of expecting that because we've seen so many different things happen that have prevented us from seeing number one and number two clash in the World Series. But I'm sure you talk theater, you talk cinema. If you got a World Series rematch from last year, especially with all that was said after it, like the Dodgers didn't only win, they sort of stuck it to the Yankees with their comments after the World Series. So the Yankees would have extra incentive, if you will, to stick it right back. I would love to see it. I'm not expecting it, but I would love to see it again this year.
Yeah, and just the way that the Yankees lost that World
Right.
Series, I'm sure they're looking for some redemption come this weekend. Is there something different this season from that World Series team that the Yankees had that you see that can benefit them, or just that's different for them facing the Dodgers this weekend?
Yeah, yeah. When you look at the matchups this weekend, it's sort of all bets off. It's a much different team than the one that lost in 5 games to the Dodgers last year, and I'm curious how they stack up. I think there's a lot to make of that, where this Yankee team is motivated by that World Series loss. A lot of these guys weren't here last year or didn't have a big part of it, but a lot of the key guys were. Aaron Judge, I think, does have an extra chip on his shoulder this year, wanting to get over the top and stick it back to this Dodger team. You have a lot of young guys that are carving out roles on this Yankee team that some of them were a big part of that run last year. Some of them weren't. Anthony Volpe and Austin Wells were. Jason Dominguez was on the postseason roster, but he didn't necessarily, warrant the playing time last year in the World Series run. Ben Rice, think about the season he's having, and he wasn't a big part of that last year. And then the veterans they brought in, like Bellinger and Goldschmidt, guys who have a lot to prove at this stage of their careers and just want to win, and now are part of this Yankees-Dodgers rivalry and budding rivalry, if you will. So I think it's a much different Yankee team that has a lot to prove, and some of them have it directly in the back of their minds, like they can picture the Dodgers celebrating on their field. Some of them don't, but are really excited to be a part of it and take the Yankees to that next step. So I think that's a lingering factor here, how different this Yankee team is and how they'll stack up with the Dodgers this season.
Yeah, I mean, no better moment to prove yourself than against the defending champs for sure. All right, thanks so much for watching New York 4 to 7 presented by Verizon. We will be back on SNY's YouTube channel and social platforms from now until the final Subway Series matchup on Sunday, July 6th. For Emmanuel Berbari, I'm Chelsea Sherrod. We will see you soon.